Hello everybody, my name is Wunder, welcome to the video, and today I'll be convincing you as to why Team Fortress 2 will never die. Now, me personally, I wouldn't quite say I'm biased because despite my near 3,000 total hours in the game, I've gone on many reasonably long hiatuses and don't feel obliged to keep playing it for, say, I don't know, having hundreds of cosmetics invest into the game's economy. No, I keep coming back to the game for reasons I and many others fail to understand, and my gradual discovery of my willingness to gravitate towards specifically this game held much of my reasoning for making this video in the first place. That, and the fact that the game itself has gone on a little bit of a hiatus in terms of updates, where recently it's been the longest update drought in the game's history, and all of a sudden a lot of people think for that sole reason the game is going to die. Today I'll be showing you why that couldn't be any farther from the truth. Enjoy the video. The gameplay of Team Fortress 2 is undoubtedly the primary reason why people play this game over any other in the genre. It's hard to condense all the reasons why the gameplay is so well polished, so I recommend you go to another separate video for that, but predominantly the game's gameplay depends almost entirely on skill. From Soldier's primary source of movement to Spy's greatest form of escape, the game relies incredibly heavily on the skill of a player, sometimes even to a fault.
To play at even a decent level against average pub opponents, the player would have to be awfully intelligent in the way the game works as a result of the steep learning curve compared to what you would need to know in other games.
Random crits aside, you can attribute the majority of your deaths or failures to win a duel as your own fault. Unlike other games where ultimate abilities or rock paper scissors based gameplay can cause your inevitable downfall. This means the more time you put into the game, the more enjoyable it often is because you can indefinitely keep getting better. You can play for years and translate your experience of getting dominated every match and only getting one kill a round to being able to consistently go on 15+ long kill streaks. In COD or Overwatch, yeah, you definitely can get better, but the difference in your performance over the first week you play to having thousands of hours invested in the game is far more significant in Team Fortress 2. The wish to go back to a more skill-based game where you are sure that the time you put in will allow you to consistently perform better is a wish that can be fulfilled by very few games, which is probably why I always seem to come back to TF2. The engine quirks are one of the most distinctive factors to separate Team Fortress 2 as well as the majority of source games from others in the multiplayer genre. The way the engine was built and maintained over the years allows you to get a better grip on the game using the engine alone. In most games, your skill resides almost entirely in gunplay or relatively simple movement mechanics. In Team Fortress 2 though, there's a ton of ways you can improve your ability just by better understanding the mechanics of the engine. A very simple example is understanding how to airstrafe. If you get a grip on the basics of what keys to press and when, you'll be opened up to many new pathways on maps purposely placed there to reward players who took the time to understand the engine. Things like rocket, sticky, and sentry jumping are important skills needed to be understood and mastered to get good at the game. On top of all that, the process of getting better at these skills is just a ton of fun and just adds to your overall enjoyment of the game. But really, the engine isn't only used to make classes quicker, it's also used to make them more lethal as well. Some people see this part of the engine as a fault of the game, but I believe the majority see it as an incentive to become better at specifically Spy. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Trick stabbing. Trick stabbing is really only allowed in TF2 because of the setup of the engine, and how it bases the knife's insta-kill hitbox on being 180 degrees around the backside of a player. This allows an intelligent use of manipulation to trick your enemies into offering up their back to get a backstab. Various techniques can be used like leading them around a corner or jumping over their head to reach such a hitbox. If you practice, you can trick stab almost any player, and if you understand the engine well enough and the hitboxes as well, you can avoid almost any backstab yourself. This makes for a great reason to learn about trick stabs both for offensive and defensive reasons, no matter what class you're playing. However, trick stabs are not the only way your understanding the engine will make you a more successful offensive player. Knowing the fact that various weapons do a ton more damage up close due to the damage drop-off can instantly make you a far better player. And yeah, I know, kinda stupid saying this, but I honestly can't count how many new players I've encountered that think using the rocket launcher as a sniper is the best strategy they can. Now, the community of Team Fortress 2 is somewhat of an anomaly in the multiplayer game genre. In almost all games as popular as it, the community is regarded as toxic, with players who would do anything in their power to win no matter how cheap a tactic is, and people who play practically as selfishly as possible. Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Call of Duty, PUBG, and Overwatch are all massively popular games almost known for their toxicity. Team Fortress 2, however, is one of the only FPS games, if not the only one, which is known for having a great community. No other community has made close to as many custom weapons, cosmetics, taunts, movies, tutorials, even their own massive updates as TF2's community has, and it's been running for more than a decade after launch. Great games have came and went as TF2 has stayed strong, which is just further proof of how powerful the game and the community are as a whole. People still make great content for the game and still support it endlessly, and as long as that's the truth, the game will stay relevant and alive. The only time TF2 will really die is when Valve shuts down the servers, and the only real incentive for them to ever do that is if the game isn't bringing in enough revenue to counterbalance the cost of the server upkeep. It's been a really long time since release, and they haven't shut down the game yet, so it's clear that TF2 is enough of a financial success that it probably won't ever die for a very long time. Just because they haven't released an update in a while doesn't mean they don't care. It just means they're working on something that evidently needs a lot of time and work put in, so if we're just a little bit patient, we might just get what we've been waiting for. Yeah, thanks for watching.